My name is Samba Yonga, and I'm the co-founder of the Women's History Museum in Zambia. We set up the Women's History Museum in 2017 with the mandate to restore indigenous knowledge systems that were created by women. This was necessitated because during the colonization process, a lot of the histories, the knowledge that women created, institutions that were created then were forgotten, and women were also left out of those narratives. So it was very important for us to bring back this knowledge into the mainstream and use digital technologies to archive them. If you think of institutions of knowledge and how knowledge is produced, it is written in books, whether it's papers, whether it's academic resources and scholarly work. But in our indigenous knowledge systems, a lot of knowledge was documented through art, through storytelling, through our ancestral stories. And a lot of that was invalidated as knowledge that is not valuable. And because it was not documented on paper, it was even much worse. Then it's not even considered a knowledge system because it's not put down on paper. And now we live in a digital age, and we saw this as an opportunity to democratize our knowledge system, but to also archive it and popularize it and make it legitimate. Our museum is fully digital because we didn't want to wait for an institution that has four walls to then determine how we will start restoring our knowledge systems. And the idea of four walls for a museum is a very westernized and Eurocentric thought of knowledge production. We never had four walls in our communities when we were practicing knowledge, when we were keeping our knowledge, when we were transmitting our knowledge, and we didn't feel it necessary to do that in order for us to start the work. And the digital age has provided us tools and platforms for us to do the same kind of work and leapfrog the idea of a brick and mortar building for us to be able to do the work that we're doing. And this has seen us be catapulted, in areas, in spaces of scholarly work, in spaces of art, in space of technology that we wouldn't have been if we waited to build a building. I think what has happened with the kind of work that we're doing, we work in a way on the fringes and on the periphery, but then we've created a huge space of debate in terms of centering knowledge systems, centering ideas around how collaboration should be done. Knowledge production in a way has only been one way. We've understood how knowledge has been produced. You go to university, a policy is created, you follow a certain path. And I think the Deconfining project is something that's interrogating that. It's interrogating the idea of how structures of collaboration, how structures of working in a cultural space look like, who they benefit, and who they implicate in a harmful or a good way. And this fell in line with exactly the work that we were doing, and we felt that we could provide valuable voice, a valuable platform for these conversations, debates, and controversies to take place. It's interesting, if I've got my passport expired in April. And if you look at my old passport, it's filled with visas from everywhere. So I travel quite a lot for the work that we do for the museum and other work. And at this point, you'd think that I've gotten used to the visa process, but every time I encounter an obstacle, because there's always a gatekeeping process to entering a space where you are, in a sense, going to exchange, but we are always considered as a lesser partner or a lesser entity that's entering a space of privilege. So it makes us wonder, or places our value at a lower space. And these are some of the things that we want to challenge and kind of interrogate around the idea of what exchange is. Because if you're talking about exchange, it should be on an equal platform. You're not doing me a favor, I'm not doing you a favor. We're both bringing things of value, and therefore access to those things should be at an equal space. But we have to jump hoops and, cross rivers for us to be able to get in even into those spaces where we can have those discussions. The only reason why I was given a visa is because they saw the evidence of the visas that I've had. So they're like, oh, she's probably low risk. We can give her the visa without putting her through a lot of hassle. And even in that, still I had to pay a huge amount of money. I still had to take the cost of taking the visa to another country and bringing it back to my country, and literally waiting on the day that I was supposed to fly at the passport office to pick up my passport and go. So the passport is such an important document of identity. What if it gets lost on the way? What if somebody takes my passport and uses the identity? They never think of those things. To them, it's like a privilege that you are even giving us your passport, that we're even getting it and putting a visa in it. And I wouldn't want my passport to get lost just because I want a visa to go to another country. And these are some of the things that are not considered and that continue to perpetuate this inequality in a so-called equal collaboration. So normally they will even tell you, first of all, there are 1,000 disclaimers. So it usually takes 3 weeks to process, and it has to go to another country. I'm based in Lusaka in Zambia. The passport had to go to Nairobi in Kenya, and then they take 15 days. And then they say, even then, they'll say a disclaimer, even if we say 15 days, it might take longer if we feel you don't meet the initial or appropriate qualifications for you to get a visa. By the way, they take your passport, and it means you can't travel anywhere else. You have to wait at home. So if you've got work somewhere else or you need to travel somewhere else, you have to wait for those 3 weeks to end for you to get your passport back. And even if you get it back, it's not 100% that you'll get the visa. They might deny and reject it anyway, And where is the justice in that? Where is the equality in that? And yet, if you look at it in the reverse way, most European countries and other territories, they just come into Africa without needing a visa, or they get a visa at the entry point. And nobody says anything. I think it's my first time to Wrocław and Poland. I've never been here before. My dad was a diplomat in Eastern Europe and London and Italy. So it reminds me a lot of Serbia and Croatia in just the way it feels, but I've also felt very comfortable, and it's an open space, meeting new people. It's always great to meet new people and new ideas, and you find there are parallels in many areas that you wouldn't think they are, and it's been exciting to be a part of huge, important discussions. I mean, as always with these kind of projects, they remind, because I have a background in the development sector and the huge ambition of the development sector is to end poverty. I mean, I don't know if it will ever happen in this lifetime. And so we do all these things, implement all these institutions and projects and processes, and, with the aim of ending poverty. And this deconfining collaboration kind of feels the same way. Create this, network and exchange that will create this magnificent way of collaborating together. I'm hopeful. But, I foresee there will still be a lot of reverting to type. Like, you get used to a certain way you've been indoctrinated and taught, and the way the process is supposed to go. And we will face resistance, we will face conflict, but that's part of the process. And I think it should happen, because then if one side acquiesces and the other side is not saying anything, then we'll just go back to business. So I think we should have the courage to go through this difficult process, because it will be.